I'd like to welcome you to the July 15th, 2021 meeting of the Lakeville Library Board of Trustees. I'm Ruth Gross, the chairperson, and with us today are trustees Patrick Marshall and Nancy Johnson-LaFave, library director Jamie Viveros, and Craig Salvador, who will be live streaming and recording for LakeCAM. In accordance with the governor's order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, general law, chapter 30A, section 20, relating to the 2020 novel coronavirus outbreak emergency, this meeting, the July 15th, 2021 public meeting of the Lakeville Library Board of Trustees shall be physically closed to the public to avoid group congregation. However, to view this meeting in progress, please go to http://facebook.com/LakeCAM, and you do not need a Facebook account to view the meeting. This meeting will be recorded and available to be viewed at a later date at http://www.lakecam.tv. So our first thing on the agenda is our secretary's report. All trustees have received it. I am assuming you have read the most recent minutes sent out, and I will entertain a motion to suspend the reading of the minutes unless there's anything anyone would like to discuss.
I will move to suspend the reading of the minutes.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, those in favor of suspending the minutes, I'll do a roll call vote. Marshall?
Aye.
LaFave?
Aye.
Gross? Aye. And the motion passes. So our minutes are fine as sent to us. Jamie, would you like to go on to the financial report?
I don't have a financial report for this month because we just started fiscal year 22 and we haven't begun submitting any bills. The first payroll will happen this week. So at this point, there have not been any expenditures. So I don't have anything to report to the board about the finances.
All right. All right. Well, then let's move on to your director's report.
Okay. So for program services collections, we've started doing our programming outside for the youth. Have to say people are really happy to be back in person and are showing up in droves outside for sure, bringing their chairs and blankets, and it's a really good thing. We're really pleased to be able to welcome people on site again and having programming happening here at the library. So we encourage anyone that's interested in participating in what we have going on to check out the website. We have put the events calendar back up online. You know, during COVID, we sort of took that down and just had our virtual links to our virtual programming. But now that we have activities happening here and we will eventually start having meetings and other events, we've put that back up as we would have on our website. The small group weekly activities, so the Knitters, Mahjong Club, and Cribbage, those folks have all started up again. We're going to use the children's program room and the local history room to host these activities because they're smaller groups. And for now, because Ms. Teresa is going to be outside with all of her events, the program rooms seem to be a good option to do the setup and just leave it there for those groups that come and join us weekly. They used to be just set up kind of out in main areas of the library, but it made more sense to have them have their own space. We're also exploring a hybrid model for the Novelties book group that we're hoping will allow us to have both in-person attendees and others still participating remotely for that. LakeCAM is going to assist us in this venture. I've already been in contact with Jose. It's going to mean some special equipment in order to manage that, but essentially it's, a camera set up in the room with a computer to manage the Zoom meeting that's happening. And then there would be a monitor in the room to show the people who are here in person, the folks that are still at home. Because definitely with that group, there was a split. We had some people that, were itching to come back and wanting to be back here in person as soon as possible. But then there's been another subset that really have been happy and able to attend from home. And we actually had some people join us that coming in person is sometimes problematic in terms of scheduling and rides and things. So we just want to see if we can explore that hybrid model to be able to accommodate everybody who wants to participate. So we figure that will be a good group because it's big enough to test the technology, but small enough that it's not, a whole room full of 100 people. But I know that the town is looking to explore that option for other meetings too, because I think, we're all in the place of the Zoom meetings are fine, but in some cases you might have people that need to be in person, or you might have some events, not events, but things that you need to discuss on your agenda that would be better done in person if there are things to display or handouts and things to show in terms of discussion, but still pulling in people that may not be able to attend in person and trying to figure that out. So like I said, I think we'll be part of that effort for the town, but we're going to see about it for our own programming. The summer concert series has started up for the Lakeville Arts Council. So they actually had their first concert on Tuesday night. Well attended. Again, I think people are happy to have some things going on again. Definitely. The council is going to host 4 concerts, this year instead of 3. Normally they just do the 3 weeks in July, but I think just because the way things are was like they had the opportunity to offer another concert. So we're actually going to extend it a little bit into August. There'll be a concert the first week of August. And in lieu of moving inside for bad weather, when they could have planned for rain dates. So the concert schedule I put into my director's report, but next week they have the Junkyard Dogs on July 20th, Knock on Wood Duo on the 27th, and then August 3rd will be Houston Bernard. So that's good. Coming up in August, there's a Lakeville resident who's also a member of the General Society of Mayflower Descendants, and she's going to be here on Monday, August 16th to offer an information session about the society and help any people through the membership application process. So I think if anybody is potential descendant from the original Mayflower Pilgrims, then there's a whole set of books that help with the genealogy. They're called the Mayflower Family Silver Book, and Ms. Ratner is, like I said, a resident expert, if you will, in that. And so we're going to offer that info session.
That's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
You're busy.
Yeah, it's funny. All of a sudden, I had to put the meeting room calendar back on my desk. And when I pulled it out, it still had March 2020 as the first page in there, because I think at that point I just put it away on the shelf. And when I pulled it back out, I said, well, it's been a long year, but I'm keeping track now of kind of what's happening inside in the various spaces, and then also created now a section for center stage because we're using that spot for other things as well as the concert. So there's things going back on, and the calendar's, I'm going to say full, but fuller at least. It's better than it's been, and we'll just keep picking up, I guess, as long as the numbers will allow us to continue moving in that direction. So we're, but people are definitely pleased with being able to have some normalcy for sure.
That's wonderful. Anything new with the building? Ground?
Well, yeah, more so the grounds. So the waterfall is still off. The electrician did come by to take a look at it. It's not a problem with the outlet. There's probably something going on with the pump itself. So we'll have to pull it out and see what's going on. It's drawing too much power, so it's tripping. And what I don't know is if the one that's having the problem is the original pump or if it's the new pump, because the pumps are the same. So when they come to set up, they put one in one and one in the other. So I really won't know which one it is until somebody comes and pulls it out. But it's quite a heavy piece, so I'll have to coordinate to have somebody take a look at that. If it's the new one that was purchased, that should probably still be under warranty. I want to say we had a couple years on it, so we'll need to do it soon. But we've at least identified it's not the power, it's the pump. So it will be off until we can get that addressed.
Do that, Jamie, or are you going to have to call somebody for that?
Yeah, we'll have to call somebody because it's not, I mean, unless there's anybody that might be able to volunteer to pull it out. It's not something that we have anybody here that's really done. At this point, we've gotten a service for setting it up and closing it up in the winter when the winter months come. I can call them to do the service on it, and they actually provided the pump when we did all the repair work. So it's, we could go that route. But I'll start locally with town just to see, what if we have anybody local who might be able to start with it, or if I need to just outsource the repairs on it. But that's why it's not running, and hopefully we can get it going again. But
The company we used, was it last year? Oh, well, there wasn't a last year. Year before last was from Rhode Island, right? Or yeah.
Yeah, it's called Earth and Water. So they had done a handful of, we had called out to various local vendors to see if anybody would come to take a look at what was going on. And they were able to come and look at it, and then they did all the repairs. The repair work seems to be holding fine. Like there's not a problem with the way it's functioning. I think it's really just this mechanical piece now. And I suspect it's probably the original one as opposed to the new one.
Makes
I
sense.
mean, it's kind of like, but I won't really know until it's up out of the ground, because you can identify it based on the tagging on it if it was one of the original ones.
It's always going to be something. I mean,
I hope not, because I'm hoping if this is the old pump, then that means if we can replace that, then maybe we'll be good for a little bit. Because
well, I just
fortunate that we get it started up and then there's a problem with it. And we had a problem with the plug last year, but what it probably was maybe the pump was starting to fail and tripping the plug. And now it's, he's identified it's the pump. So anyway.
Okay. Any questions for anyone on building grounds or on the programs and
Yeah,
service?
the only other thing I'll mention about grounds, and this will be something that we'll have to talk about with, the facilities folks here and probably the town administrator. I definitely noticed a few more spots on ceiling tiles after all of the rain that we've had. So in terms of evaluating what we have going on for water coming in, I mean, nothing major, no major damage, but definitely there's one spot that's like a new spot. But we've had an awful lot of water, so it could become it could be under normal circumstances not creating anything, but now when we had a whole day of deluge, now some water found its way in. So I think that's just going to be the challenge. The next big challenge for the library to chase is staying one step ahead of the leaking.
Oh boy. Okay. The season's not made it easy.
No.
Okay. When we have some new staff in the library, can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So we were successful in filling our last open positions. So we've hired a woman named Cindy Souza. She started on Tuesday, July 6th. She's joining us as the library technical assistant clerk, working 32 hours a week. She's essentially taking the job that Pammy had been doing for years. So she'll be primarily on the circulation desk will help with help patrons in person, and then manage some potentially help with book club. That's one thing. Now that we have these positions with new hires, we're going to be taking a look at who, what different jobs will be under what different positions, just because we've had contiguous staff for years. And so now you kind of reevaluate and say, okay, who was responsible for that, and making sure that the work is split amongst everybody. But she's coming to us with 5 years of library experience as a library tech and another local library. So she's familiar with the day-to-day operations. It was another library in the sales library network. So that's helpful, because then things like the system, the catalog, it's not new to her. So already, like, she's been here, it's going to be, I guess, almost 2 weeks, but she's picking right up and fitting in. And we're just kind of having to talk about, how we do it here in Lakeville, but having to teach her the mechanics of the system. Like, she was able day one to be checking materials out and answering the phone and helping people. So it's been a good option there. And Alyssa Ferreira will start next Monday. She will be joining us as the library assistant for adult services. This position will help with I guess our social media presence, take over the newsletter, be responsible for adult programming, as well as also helping patrons on the desk. So that work is really done by everybody and shared. And then what happens is when people are off desk, they all have some other responsibility. So for Alyssa, she also is coming to us with library experience, but has also worked and has a degree in film, video, and media studies. So she is comfortable with the technology and the different software out there that we have to use, including Adobe Creative Suite and Canva. So that's really going to be useful for us to be able to beef up our outreach to people, I guess, in terms of what we do with graphic things and materials that we can create to hand out to patrons to inform them about what we're doing. So I think that, we'll be able to do more robust marketing than we have been able to do since I took over those responsibilities from the position when we had a changeover, I don't know, however many years ago it was. So I'm looking forward to that. So I guess it's like, introduce yourselves next time you're in, if they're here. Like I said, they're both here full time, and we're looking forward to it. It's working out well.
And Pammy has taken over Diane's job. What is the name of that position?
So that's the library assistant for technical services. So that position is responsible when they're off desk to manage a lot of the circulation supervisor responsibilities. So there's a whole set of daily activities and weekly reports to monitor, and different communications that have to happen between libraries that are kind of beyond the day-to-day operation out at the desk. It's keeping track of the items that are coming and going in delivery. Like, for example, if the library sends something 2 weeks ago and we haven't gotten it, there's a process for us to do some investigative work as to where that item might be. So that's, there's kind of advanced items related to circulation and keeping all of the things running and working that position is responsible for. She will also handle the cataloging end of things. So after we do orders and the items come in, they'll be, Pammy will enter them into the library system, assign the barcode numbers, the call numbers, and then, the processing will probably be shared amongst the staff. Things like doing the book covers and getting them actually shelf ready is a shared responsibility, but Pammy will put them into the system. So there is one person that does all of the system work, assigning the codes and entering those items, and that will be her responsibility when she's not, public facing with the patrons.
And our new custodian, that's working out well?
Yep, that's working out well. So like I said, he's picked up the ropes and just keeps going around and around the building. Definitely noticed a difference in terms of how things are, and very happy with that. We've got a good kind of rapport going on. I've ordered him some new supplies and tools, and we worked on reorganizing the custodian closet so it's more workable. And I found some, I wouldn't say found some storage, but we repurposed another area for some storage, so that way everything doesn't have to be in that one space. So yeah, that's working out really well too. I have no complaints on that end. And like I said, the patrons too are so happy when they hear that Carol and Diane will still be around a few days a week. And so that's been wonderful too. It's kind of funny though when they come in and then, they're here for the one shift and it's like, okay, bye. Like, oh, we'll see you next week. Like usually when you were working with someone every day to now go from that to only, a few hours. But I think we're all adjusting.
It sounds like it's a good time for you to have full staff right now.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay, does anybody have any questions about staffing? Moving right along, tell us what's going on with the Friends of the Library.
All right, so the Friends will be on hiatus from meeting for the summer, so they won't meet in July and August. Their next meeting scheduled for Monday, September 13th. We talked at the last meeting, they're hoping to have a book sale in the fall. I don't know if we might be able to find an October date. Of course, all of this is dependent on, what the conditions are, but that's the idea, is that, they could work towards starting up their book sales again. But the book room is open, and they will be doing actually a promotion for the book bags in probably the tail end of July into August, just to, encourage people to purchase the book bags. They'll be able to fill them in the room for $5. One thing that has come up though also is they received, some very generous donations from family and friends of Patricia McMahon. Now, she was a library patron, but she's also, she was a former friend of the library who passed away in May. So to date, it's about $950 that has been sent in to the Friends in her memory and in her honor. It's just been, people have all these little memory notes that they're sharing. And I went back through and looked at the write-up that her family had done in terms of her, I guess, favorite activities. And so the Friends, we talked about whether or not they could purchase a special collection of books for the library, highlighting some of Mrs. McMahon's favorite activities, so including ballroom dancing, gourmet cooking, and painting watercolors. I think that these would be a really nice addition to the collection. I think that people would certainly borrow them and benefit by them being here. So the Friends, like I said, they've talked about it and will put those donations towards purchasing materials for the collection. They normally, the money that they receive goes more towards summer read program, supplies for the youth services programming, and they do help with adult programming as well. But they felt like these particular donations, because they were given in memory of somebody, really should go towards something special where it could be recognized. So all of those books that are purchased will also have book plates in them, acknowledging that or showing that it was in memory of Mrs. McMahon. Great.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
Okay, next thing is the Great Ponds Gallery. Shall take that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. There's no change. Our exhibit is the same one that was up last month. It's a travel photography exhibit by Ben Gibo. And our next exhibit, which is going up on the beginning of, it'll be available on August 2nd, is a local painter. He's from New Bedford by the name of Chip Davenport, who does wildlife painting that is incredible. It's looks like photography, and we're really excited to have him. We will be having a reception on September 9th, hopefully, unless there's a change in the COVID numbers. And that will be our first reception since 2019,
February 2020.
February 2020,
You're
right?
The Afghans and rockers, you're right. Yeah.
So anyway, we're looking forward to that with a tiny bit of trepidation, but we'll see, and I'm sure everybody will behave themselves. And so we're very happy about that, and we've started getting applications from artisan again. So we're moving right along, giving people something to look at when they come in, and hopefully people who wouldn't normally come in, give them a reason to. So, okay. Anything else, Jamie, that you want to bring up within the scope of reporting about the last month or the next month within the director's report?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Moving along, we have the HCA, which is Host Community Agreement Charitable Contribution, who are putting together a municipal subcommittee. Can you tell us about that, please?
Okay, so the Board of Selectmen formed a subcommittee because the HCA, the host community agreements, are essentially the marijuana cultivators in town. They're going to be providing funding for community charity organizations. And so the selectmen would like to have representatives from all of the different organizations around town to take part in this subcommittee to help decide how the funding that's received from the cultivators is spent in town. So the other organizations, it's, for example, the COA is on the list, the Historic Commission, the Park Commission, Lakeville Arts Council, and the Library Board of Trustees has been named as one of the groups as well. So they put a call out to see, to have all of these boards, commissions, committees, I guess, appoint a designee to the subcommittee from your local board.
Do you know what is required time-wise from this commitment?
I don't.
Okay. So they didn't mention whether they're planning on monthly meetings or bi-yearly or?
Nope. It's just that, yeah, so the board designated Rich LaCamera as its own representative, and the town administrator will also serve on the subcommittee. And then, like I said, these other 5 organizations, there'll be membership from them. I can't see that this would be a very big time commitment, because I would think that the distributions would be coming, unless they're going to be coming on a monthly basis. It says that the funding is provided on an annual basis. So it's whether or not you'd have to meet any more than a few times. I guess it depends on how much funding there is, and maybe the group will determine that when it has its first meeting. Like I said, there's no, I didn't have any more information than just that they were looking for a representative from the trustees to serve on the subcommittee.
Okay, so Nancy and Patrick.
So do we need to have someone volunteer to participate
That's
at this
what I'm
time?
getting.
Or do they?
All right. Nancy, you're represented in so many communities in that thing. Are you already on the committee?
No, the reason I'm saying that is the Historical Commission will need a representative too. So if someone else would like to represent the library, I have no problem with that.
Patrick,
Paper, scissors.
Is this something that interests you?
I'm happy to do it if represent the library if need be, and unless Ruth, you have a desire to do it or something. I don't know too much about
a
it
great
myself
desire.
either. So
Again, I will do it if no one else wants to, but
No, I'll do it. I'm happy to volunteer to do it. It's kind of with you all. I don't know much about it, so.
Well, you'll fill us in when you find out.
There we go.
Well, thank you, Patrick. So, this is a volunteer thing. I don't think it's something we need to vote on. Do you think?
It may not hurt just because you're designating one member of the trustee to serve on this subcommittee.
Okay. Then we will have a roll call vote to accept Patrick's generous offer to be on the HCA Charitable Contributions Municipal Subcommittee. So Patrick?
Aye.
Nancy?
Aye.
And I for me. Okay, so the motion passes. Thank you, Patrick. If you ever find that you are unable to make it to a meeting and need a replacement,
I would think that too, like whether or not if none of you are able to make it, whether or not I could at least go and get the information. I think they're probably looking for members of the actual boards in terms of making decisions about how the money will be spent, but I could at least help with that if there's, I don't know, information that needs to be gathered, but we'll start with that. So.
okay. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to bring up or? No? All right, then let's set our next meeting for August 2021. The year's going by. So we're at the third Thursday now, 19th.
The 19th.
Yeah, is that good?
Are you still looking to Zoom it or?
Yeah.
I'm trying to mute myself.
We don't know where we are at that point, but we can certainly work around whatever schedule needs to.
Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of the board, you can decide either way. You're small enough that it shouldn't be a problem to have it in person if you wanted to move towards that. But the Chapter 20 Acts of 2021 now has allowed for remote meetings going forward for a while. So you can stay remotely if that's more convenient.
Well, I think, Patrick, what do you
We're
think?
doing, if we're doing Zoom, if we could keep it at the 4 o'clock, that would be great. Because wherever I am, I can jump in. I will say that beginning in August, my schedule is changing as I start a new job. And so if we go in person, I really can't tell you right now what would be the case. I mean, once we get settled, then I'll know and be more consistent.
Why don't we set the 19th at 4 o'clock and before it's posted, see where you are.
I can let you know.
Because that seems to be something that we all could do. Right, Nancy?
Yeah.
4 o'clock? Okay. So at this point, our next meeting will be August 19th at 4 p.m. And stay tuned for any changes on that one. Oh, well, there's a change, but you never know. Okay. Okay. Anything else, Jamie, that you can think of to bring up?
No, I guess the only other thing with the invite should probably be coming out shortly is they're hoping to do like an open house meet and greet with the new town administrator, Ari Sky, on Tuesday, the 27th from 4 to 6 p.m. over at the Council on Aging. So that's going to go out basically to town employees, other boards and commissions, and we'll be open to the public too if there's any community members that, you know, would like to welcome him in his role now as the town administrator for Lakeville, and haven't had a chance to meet him. But I think once I receive that, I'll forward it to the entire board, but I guess I just figured I'd mention it.
Right. Well, that's nice. At what time did you say?
It's between 4 and 6. So kind of a stop-in event.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, anything else from anyone? Okay, I will ask
A
for a
motion to
motion.
adjourn.
Thank you. And do I hear a second? Nancy? Okay. All right. I guess we'll do a roll call. Patrick, it's your motion. Nancy, your second. I'm assuming yay, yay. Yay. Nancy, yay.
Yeah.
And yeah. All right. So it is now 4:37 on July 15th, and we are adjourned. Thank you, Craig.